Talent acquisition season, be it via free agency, the draft, and so much more, is firmly in the rear view of your New England Patriots. Mini camps, OTAs, and so many other forms of practice and participation are on the horizon. So how do your Patriots stack up against their former selves? What do the position groups look like now that the Patriots have made many efforts to bring in lots of talent and fancy new coaches as well? Today, Mego and Fitzy are here to tell you what the Patriots positional group rankings are like now heading into the 2025 preseason. It's going to be a fun new Six Rings. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Here we go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Winning on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
And with a good block. Look at Grover. All the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hanna.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow.
We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is Six Rings and Football Things.
Coming in hotter than Steph Diggs on the steps of the Met Gala, draped in glory and fancy fur, it's your old pal, Nick Fitzy Stevens here, alongside the wonderful and talented Miss Megan Ottolini. Hello, Mego.
Hello. Did you catch any Met Gala last night? I was at the Celtics game, so I did not get to see many of the looks.
That was honestly one of the, I know this is a Patriots podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest and always greatest edition of Six Rings and Football Things, brought to you by WEEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports. A lot of us were caught up watching the Celtics game 1 against the Knickerbockers. Everybody who said Celtics in 4 or that this would be a sweep hereafter type of series can take that tuck it and stuff it, because that was just gross. And so we needed to get together this morning for a Patriots podcast to refresh the palate or feel a little bit more optimistic about things, because I found that game personally to be somewhere between miserable and infuriating, Mego.
You know what? I'm a little bit on the other side of it. I actually enjoyed watching the game as a basketball fan because I thought that the rally back from the Knicks was pretty exciting. Jalen Brunson is NBA Clutch Player of the Year and showed you why last night, except for that bunny that he smoked that would have won the game in regulation. That was a tough look for him. But I'm going to just say, like, my number one hot Celtics take on this Patriots podcast is that you can't get mad at the Celtics for shooting threes when that's what won the championship last year. Yes, as Jaylen Brown said postgame, would you like them to have mixed in an easy bucket here or there on the inside to maybe get some momentum going? For sure. But that's how they win. They live and die by it. Last night, they died by it.
They did. And I understand that's the mantra, live and die by it as well. We'll see what the Patriots live and die by this year, whether it's a running attack, a passing attack, or something beautifully blended together by Josh McDaniels, now firmly in the fold. And by the way, last week, Mego, I was, like so many, just completely in love with 2 pictures released from whatever. I don't know exactly what the name of the practices were. It was sort of like hey, we finished the draft, so everybody is allowed to. I think it's like the practices last week are the special practices that a coach who is a rookie head coach on a team, a first-year head coach, are allowed to hold. So like it was, it's not just like rookie mini camp or something. It was welcome to your football team practices or whatever. Like, but they featured, my favorite part was there was the one photo of Josh McDaniels, who looks like he lost like 30 pounds since the last time he was an assistant coach for the Patriots. Or like since he coached with the Raiders, like he went on a spiritual journey and he went on a calorie deprivation journey as well. Like he was looking slim down. He was talking to Drake May, and I just got those like Karate Kid vibes of like, yes, that's Mr. Miyagi talking to Danielson. This is great. Finally, always there are 2, as they say in the Star Wars universe, a master and apprentice. This is beautiful. And also, did you not love that photo? Like the photo set the Patriots put out of Mike Vrabel, like literally getting in with the pads. He had on the yellow tank top jersey that had like a linebacker number. And did you see what number he was wearing?
I don't recall. What was it?
51, Mayo's number.
Oh,
Right?
I didn't pick up on that. Good pickup by you. That's awkward. I think anybody else with that visual that's not Mike Vrabel looks
Yeah.
like the biggest hardo. We'd all be rolling our eyes and everybody would be mocking it. But there is this level to it that feels authentically him, so it works.
Exactly. That's exactly how it feels. It's like, oh, what a troll move. Oh, trying to prove you're such a hardo. What a football guy. Yes, yes, and yes. That's Mike Vrabel in a nutshell. Like, he is a perpetual football guy. As we've seen all offseason long, he has tried to cleanse the room of people that either felt entitled or didn't love football as much as he and the players on the team do now. He loves busting people's balls. I've heard from people that work for the Patriots that have had some meetings with him that he's like very fair and fun, but also a giant, wonderful pain in the ass. We've seen the dynamic he's established with people like yourself, your mentor, Karen Garrigian, and others, where like he's kind of a jackass, but also like he's a jackass that cares. It's been, I gotta tell you, I've said it on the pod, and I would say it one more time before we get into ranking the positional groupings now that we're in the post-draft life. It's just fun to talk Patriots again. It really is. And that is the main storyline that I've gotten from people. Like, you think the receivers are going to be better? This Kyle Williams kid, blah, blah. Sure. Travion Henderson, we're going to have a running. Sure. Milton Williams, is Barmore healthy? Watch out for that. Yep, possibly. All those things. But the biggest thing for me is that with hope in the air, once again, for the first time authentically in about a half decade, it's just fun to talk. There's actually new content to chew up, spit around, turn around, and people like where the direction that this team is headed right now.
Yeah, the last time that I can remember it feeling this positive was really 2021 when they went out and did that huge free agency spend, and
Mhm.
everybody was waiting to see what Mac Jones would be in camp. And
Mhm.
we got a fun season that year. It wasn't for the long term,
Right.
but I think it's nice, at least at this point in the season, especially compared to last year, that
For
there
sure.
seems to be a lot of curiosity and a lot to at least be optimistic about.
I mean, you want to talk about people being optimistic right now as we record the latest Six Rings and Football Things. Space Drifter, who is watching live on YouTube, said Pat's had the greatest offseason of all time. Okay, all right, good.
Wow.
So as long as reality is also playing a factor in the equation as well, and hyperbole has not come anywhere near the gates of one formerly Tom Brady place, that's a good thing to have. People are also excited. Yes, we will be doing a breakdown of all the undrafted free agents as well coming up. Looking forward to trying to figure out which guys will make it from the 18 undrafted free agents. Six Rings Dynasty watching live on YouTube. Lan Larison, aka Danny Woodhead, aka Junior James White, could very well be. He's one of the two guys. He Larison and the Chisholm guy, not the guy that you are familiar with, who's buying the Celtics, but
Billy Banners.
Billy Banners. No, he's definitely one that's on the radar of the super fans out there that are super excited to see if he could make the roster. But we just wanted to come together today. Enough little Pat's Puri up the top here. We wanted to come together today to sort of assess all the positional groupings now that we are long since past free agency. The draft has taken place. Now we've seen who they got. Free agency season is long. You know, we're now entrenched. We have the roster. We know who the 90 are. Eventually they'll whittle it down to 53. But they have attacked and tried to improve, fortify, thin the ranks of, and bolstered each and every positional grouping. So Mego had a snazzy idea. Let's rank all the positional groupings in terms of tiers. So here are the tiers. We have 5 tiers. We have power ranked the Patriots positional groupings into 5 tiers. We have best of the best, named after Top Gun. We've got pretty good. But no need to curb your enthusiasm on those positional groupings as well. We got big on the upside. So there's potential, not definite, but also we're saying, but not just saying. We got a little shaky, and then we got ruh-roh reggy. So those are our 5 tiers, the 5 positional grouping tiers right now, post-draft, pre-practice season for your New England Patriots. And let's just get going with best of the best, Mego. Who do you believe there could be more than one, but who do you have ranked? Who is the best of the best in your mind of all the Patriots positional groupings?
So I just kind of lumped two positional groups together in the secondary. Because I think without a doubt, as we stand here today on paper, your corners are the strongest individual players on your team. Of course, with Christian Gonzalez, you had Carlton Davis in free agency. I'm trying to be optimistic about Duggar because we found out that he had an injury at the end of last season, and maybe that accounted for some of his lack of productivity. And on top of that, like, for all the off the field stuff, Jabril Peppers does play with a style that I think is going to really be complementary to everything that Mike Vrabel is trying to do defensively on the field. So I'm very, very high on this secondary. I think they should be rock solid there. The area that has the least concerns for me and really the most hope.
I agree. I think the combination of Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis as a 1-2 punch on the outside for corners is about as good as it's going to be in the NFL this year. You can think of other teams like Carolina with J.C. Horn, Denver with Patrick Surtain II, the Chiefs with Trent McDuffie. These are New York with Sauce Gardner, who actually had a very down 2024 by his elite standards. They're all very good to elite corners. But who's the corner that's opposite them that may actually put out 85 to 90% of their on-field effort and value? I don't see a cornerback tandem in the NFL that's as good as the Patriots 1-2 punch. Now you also add in Marcus Jones at slot, Alex Austin, who actually proved himself to be a worthy contributor last year as well. I think the Patriots have about as good a cornerback grouping as you'll see in the NFL. I'm with you on Duggar if he's healthy. I know he's a little suspect sometimes in coverage. Love the hammer that Jabril Peppers, when he's healthy and also focused, can drop. And Marte Mapu may add a little something as well. Plus, they add the Woodson kid from California. So I'm with you there. I say that the best of the best positional grouping wise for the Patriots is their secondary. And I'm actually going to throw in a bonus group right here as well. And that group would be your coaching staff. I think the
I didn't
Patriots,
know we were including them.
I threw them in. That was a value. That was a value add. That was
Okay.
for everyone kind enough to join us on the pod today. I just feel like Mike Vrabel is the perfect guy to coach this team. I'm so damn happy that Josh McDaniels is back. We already know Jeremy Springer as a special teams coach was so good. He had the Pats up into the top 10 last year, got them out of the cellar and up into the attic of top tier special teams groupings. And I think Terrell Williams is going to do an excellent job. Plus, we can't stop hearing enough good things about all Todd Downing as wide receivers coach, Doug Marrone coming in as the O-line coach. And everyone says that the special Vrabel assistant, this guy, John Stryker, a.k.a. Stretch. I got a buddy who works concessions at Gillette Stadium who I was speaking to the other night, Mego, at the AC/DC concert. And he was like, Stretch? He's like, oh, man, that guy's everywhere. He's huge. I'm telling you, he's running a tight ship around here. The fact that a concessions guy is telling me in May that he can tell what a difference Stretch is making. And I ran into another friend who hung out with me and my son. We went bowling, had dinner, and then went to the AC/DC show. And the thing that she said was, oh, my God, you have no idea. It's so much better around here. There's so much more energy. Everyone loves showing up to work again. And that, I think, in large part, has more to do with the coaches and what the coaching staff and the executives are implementing right now. So I had to throw them in, Mego.
Love it. Love it. Do you want to move on to our Larry David tier?
Yeah, let's go to the Larry David tier. Now let's get into the groups that are pretty good. Who you got?
Okay, so pretty good. I have linebackers and defensive line. Obviously, this is where you had a ton of your investment in free agency. So I think that this is going to be kind of your turnkey group. And this is obviously where, from your coaching staff, Mike Vrabel, it's like his love language is linebackers and the defensive line. So I think that's going to be an area where we classically think of the Patriots as being strong, maybe underachieved with that group last year. But now, obviously, you have the big addition of Milton Williams. You have Harold Landry. Maybe you get Christian Barmore back. Fingers crossed that he's healthy. I think just across the board, Robert Spillane, you're going to be in a position where a lot of your leadership from your team in the locker room probably comes from that group. Maybe it's going to be like the most kind of professional, veteran, most self-aware, knows who they are group of guys, and hopefully going to be able to add a lot more pressure on the quarterbacks that you're facing. I also think they're going to have a bit of this factor of looking really good compared to some of the other groups because of the quarterbacks that they're facing.
Agreed.
I know later in the week, we're hoping to go over the strength of schedule, and we're going to be focusing on some of the teams that they're going to be seeing ahead of the schedule release next week. But I think with this group, it's going to be very much like once we're in training camp, they know who they are. They're going to be showing off exactly what their attributes are. And hopefully, a lot of that has to do with the pass rush compared to last year.
Agreed 100%. Anthony Jennings at defensive end, one of the more underrated DNs in the American Football Conference. This is a year where I think Keon White is going to get back to doing Keon White things vis-a-vis scaring quarterbacks, making lives for opposing offensive linemen a nightmare because he had to do so much. And he was complaining about it. You and I talked about it when we had to do a pregame show last year. He had spoken to Karen Gregan at Mass Live about how frustrated he was with the way things were going. And obviously we saw a sweeping change come to Foxborough and Tombstone just a few weeks later as well. Now you add in Harold Landry, who I think probably still has at least one, if not two good seasons left in him from veteran leadership, steady play on the line, pass rush and more. And then Milton Williams, yes, I understand he's going to play more snaps this year and he's being paid to than he has previously, but he looks like he's ready for the challenge. And if Christian Barmore is healthy, what a difference that's going to make. Well, I think it'll be almost as exciting to see a healthy Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez playing together as it will be to see a healthy Christian Barmore alongside Milton Williams, just tearing through O-lines and hopefully wreaking havoc in backfields. Then you add in the kid that they drafted from Florida State on the defensive line, and maybe the 5th round steal of the century in this Swinson kid out of LSU. I think good question. Who is showing up more on your timeline right now from Patriots fans getting hype about what a great sneaky value add or draft pick they were? Kyle Williams or Braden Swinson?
I got to say it's all Kyle Williams on mine. And we'll get to where the receivers are in our tiers. I think there's a lot of hopefully upside with him, but there's so many question marks with the wide receivers. I can't even delve into that yet.
Yeah, I know. There's mad Kyle Williams love all over my timeline. He has taken over TreVeyon Henderson, over Will Campbell. But there's a lot of Swinson love out there as well from the local front, as well as some national folks that just keep scratching their head wondering, how'd this guy fall all the way to the 5th and how'd they land in Foxborough? Sometimes that leads to success. Sometimes that leads to broken dreams and failed expectations. We'll see. But I'm pretty hype on both of them. And I'll tell you, I think so much of the linebacker play that merits them being in pretty good is Spillane. Everyone who is a football guy or celebrates football guy life has said, "Oh no. He'll be in your top 5 favorite Patriots of the decade the second you see this guy play." He's just a tackling, disruptive defensive machine. So, you miss guys like Juwan Bentley, but they seem to have gotten quicker. They seem to have gotten faster, and they're going to be more aggressive in that Vrabel mold. So there's our pretty goods. Let's go big on the upside. Should be really good. I won't say there's bust potential. There could be a little disappointment in the depths, but as far as big on the upside goes, let's go as we move past pretty good. Big on the upside. I'll go with my first one. I'll add in running backs. Ramondre should benefit from an improved offensive line. Gibson, as we saw, took over as the better of the 2 backs last year. And I think forget about the Udfas, everyone. I know everyone wants to mention the Larison kid and the Chisholms and Kisms and whoever else. It's TreVeyon Henderson. And this is his room to make or break. If he's as good as he was in college or 2/3 as good as he was the second half of the 2024 season in Ohio State at the pro level, with that kind of breakaway speed, with those long strides, those soft hands, and that pass pro, there's a good chance the Pats will not be mentioned in the top 8 running back rooms in the NFL, but they could at least get back into the upper half of the league, which would at least get them out of big on the upside and back up into the pretty good territory. And who knows, maybe he'll win the starting job and be legitimately elite from snap one. So I'll throw in running backs. Who else you got?
Yeah, I have running backs too. I feel like TreVeyon Henderson has the opportunity to be so complementary to pieces of this offense, whether it's relieving Ramondre Stevenson of some of the load that he's had to carry. I just don't think he's the kind of every down back that people in the building seem to think that he is. He's much better historically when he's splitting with another back, and it just didn't completely work with Gibson that way last year. They got a little bit of productivity out of him at the very end of the year, but I don't think anything went according to plan for the offense, and that includes the running back room. So Trevion Henderson, I also think, will alleviate some of the workload, hopefully, for Drake May, who's going into his second season, in terms of the productivity, certainly in terms of the ground game, because Drake May, for so many games, was the explosive factor in the running game for you. And that's where I have quarterbacks as well, in the big on the upside. There's no doubt about Drake May's talent in my mind. I think that I expect some growing pains in this second season. And that's not to say that I think that it's going to be a step backwards. I think he's still going to be making forward progress, both on the field and in his career. But I think that Josh McDaniels is probably going to try to rein him in a little bit, try to eliminate those negative plays. And perhaps it causes a little bit of an existential crisis in some ways, of Drake saying, who am I? Who am I supposed to be in this Patriots offense? That gets sorted out by mid-season, but I think it's going to be kind of typical of somebody who was trying to make everything happen last year because he was really the only thing that the team had going for them offensively, to now trying to be the commander of this entire offense under Josh McDaniels, which will probably look pretty different from last season.
Joe Kocha the third, watching live on Facebook. If Mondre has fumbling problems, still get ready for Lan Larison to get some. See, my God, this guy's already a freaking Foxborough legend, and he hasn't even made the team coming out of the scrum of UDFAs. I'm with you as well. Look, for all we know, Mego, by some accounts and looks and standards and previews, if Drake May has the kind of season that Josh McDaniels can and should be able to get out of him, and if he makes progress and doesn't turn the ball over, runs the offense well, understands the progressions and the reads and processes even quicker than he did last year when he wowed so many of us, he could very well move into pretty good, or even be up there with best of the best by the end of the season, or be promising that in 2026 he joins best of the best. So he's almost in his own subset of potential galore. It is big on the upside for sure, but we can't just put him in pretty good or the second tier just yet, because we need to see more than 15 touchdowns, 10 picks, couple fumbles as well. Don't all the things that McDaniels has said that Tom Curran talked about on our radio station. Don't be surprised if he starts him out a little slow, making sure he doesn't run into sacks, making sure that he does protect his dome, making sure he doesn't make turnovers. And then once he's comfortable enough in the system, then he'll give him some more slack and some more tether. And that's when we probably will see Drake May starting to cook. So there you go. Big on the upside, running backs and quarterbacks. Now, unfortunately, we need to start getting into the lower side, the lower tiers. Here's who we have a little bit shaky. And this is our busiest room, Mego. Why don't you tell the people what they need to hear?
Okay, wide receivers to me is the most obvious one here. You make the addition of Steph Diggs and Mac Hollins, and then on top in free agency, and then you draft Kyle Williams, who we just talked about briefly. I'm excited to see all those guys, and especially Steph Diggs. Hopefully, fingers crossed that he's healthy for week 1. I just think that there's so much unknown here, and what is known is basically Pop Douglas. We don't even know if Kayshon Boutte and Kendrick Bourne are going to be members of this room once the season starts, or when we get through training camp even. So Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, everybody should be skeptical about each one of those individuals. I just think that there is so much unknown here, and I'd like to be optimistic about it, but without having seen anything from this group so far, or even know the health status of maybe the most important guy in the group, and looking at Steph Diggs, it's hard to be extremely hopeful that this is going to be a group that's on the upper half of the tiers of this team.
Yeah. There's just no way to say, even if you firmly believe the addition of Steph Diggs and Kyle Williams, like I said, the timeline dominator, who everyone is so hype on, and Steph Diggs looking like 10 million at the Met Gala. Every single clip that shows up in social media of him training, running, doing squats, lifting, like he looks like he's in mid-season form, like he's in elite shape right now. And people are honestly impressed, if not blown away, with the recovery. just 6 months out of a non-contact ACL tear and replacement. But you still got to show it on the field as well. I don't know who that they took last year is going to actually be able to merit a spot on the team. If Kendrick Bourne is going to be part of the equation, can Pop Douglas make it through a whole season and catch 80 balls and reach 1,000 yards like so many believe? So until otherwise, I don't know if they should be big on the upside by the end of the year. A couple of them could be scratching the surface of pretty good, but for right now, they got to be a little bit shaky. You also
Yeah.
got to talk about also in that equation. I think we have to throw special teams in.
Yeah, I put special teams in here again because in a similar way, there's just a lot of turnover there. I think it's great that they brought back Jeremy Springer, the
Mhm.
coordinator. I think he did an excellent job with that group last year. And you at the same time let go of your longtime long snapper
Mhm.
and captain and Joe Cardona. You're moving on from your place kicker. So you're bringing in a brand new kicker. It's a kind of unsettled position for the Patriots over the last couple of seasons. Uh, and Bryce Behringer, again, like, you got
It's
Marcus
good.
Jones, you got
Yeah.
pieces on there that have shown themselves to have a lot of spark and some upside, but for me, I had to put them here just because there's so much left to be seen and determined for this group.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I can't tell you right now. I cannot tell you who is going to be the primary kick returner. I can't tell you who's going to be the primary punt returner. We don't know how the new long snapper out of Vanderbilt might be, although I know you did have a chance to speak to some of his coaches as well. And great, high character guy. Should be a perfect fit. That's amazing. Thanks for everything, Cardona. But it's a question mark until I see it. Bryce Behringer, good punter. Good to very good at times. And the Borgales kid from Miami, again, it's a rookie kicker. This is their third kicker they've drafted since 2020. We've got no 3%er issues or crazy inaccuracies from Rohrwasser. We don't have Chad Ryland freaking out in the clutch. Joey Sly was good. We all miss the legend of Nick Folk and big kick Nick Energy. Sly was good, but it was not enough for the long term. So this is Mike Vrabel's kicker. Apparently, big leg. Obviously, was clutch at Miami as well. I think it's going to work out, but we don't know until we see it again. So unless otherwise notified, it's a little bit shaky.
And we both love Brendan Schooler. Like, that's probably going to be a captain this year. So he's kind of moving into that Matthew Slater role, hopefully.
Mhm.
But it's just not the kind of thing where I can be like, okay, Schooler's going to be the rising tide that lifts the entire special teams into being something that everybody's putting at the very top.
Correct. I love the Longhorn package when he gets to come in and rush the passer as well. He's a super good special teams player, but enough to move him into big on the upside, maybe, probably, sort of not. And sadly, also tight ends are with the receiver. Now, listen, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper are pros, Mr. and Mr. Dependable, right? You know what you're going to get from them. They're your favorite pre-wrapped deli sandwich that's always in the open pantry. Grab it with a soda and chips, and lunch seems just fine. But they're both 31 this year. There is no infusion of youth talent or dynamic explosiveness in the room. And I think that's what probably leads us to trend them in the lower direction.
Absolutely, especially with Hunter Henry. I just think that he's been kind of stuck in this neutral position for a couple years now. He was such a red zone weapon with Mac
Mhm.
Jones in that 2021 season, and he's never really reached that same level of productivity on that particular area of the field, and I think that's somewhere where they could really use him. He was the most productive pass catcher last year, but some of that is just kind of subjective because you're comparing it to the worst wide receiver room in the entire NFL last season.
Mhm.
So I don't want to knock those guys. I think I'm just feeling a little disappointed that they didn't do more to add to it so far in this offseason to supplement those two guys who I think are okay, but neither one of them is going to blow doors this season.
Yeah, I mean, people are there. We go. There's more. I just can't wait until training camp when I can say, "Are you effing kissing me?" When that kid makes a sick catch. Lol. Great comment, Joe. Thank you very much for watching live on Facebook as well. See, there's a lot of hype. What if we could have a world, Mego, where an undrafted runner and an undrafted wide receiver come in and not, again, it's not entitlement season. Baker and Polk could very well be looking for work elsewhere. That's just the God's honest truth. So we'll see. Is there any way Jaheim Bell can step up? I didn't see anything last year, Joe McBride. Thanks for the question. Until otherwise notified, I can't pin any of our hopes in the tight end room to him. And last but not least, as we wrap up this latest edition, excuse me, of Six Rings and Football Things with Fitzy and Mego, somebody has to fill the row raggy compartment. And there's one group that's been a big old Achilles heel for your New England Patriots ever since Tom Brady left, and even just slightly before that. And they've invested a lot in it, monetarily speaking. They've invested a lot in the draft as well. Equity, dollars, and more, not to mention all the content and clicks that has been generated by the woe line. That's right. Row raggy, the offensive line. But Mego, they just drafted Will Campbell. I thought Sling Blade was supposed to fix everything for us. How come they're down the bottom?
So I'm just again in wait and see mode with Will Campbell. I was not I should say I was a big skeptic about taking him where they took him because of the measurables. I love everything about the cut of his jib. Aside from that, I like his attitude. I like his pedigree coming from LSU. So I think that there is upside there. I just look at where you're starting from last season, and it was just such a horrible position group last year. You try to upgrade or try to supplement the loss of David Andrews with Garrett Bradbury, and we talked to him a couple of weeks ago down at Foxborough. Seems like a great guy. Like,
yeah, what did you get off of him? Like, much wasn't made.
Smart. Like, very sharp guy, classic center, very, very intelligent. It's just a matter of how is this line going to work together? We don't totally even know where these guys are going to be slated. And I'm not just talking about can Will Campbell be a starting left tackle once the season starts. We don't know where Cole Strange is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be in there. So Mike Onwenu, somebody who at this time last year, we were talking about being the most talented tackle that was available, and then really underachieved during the season for you after you paid him a lot. I think that individually there's a lot of question marks with these guys in their very own positions. And then on top of that, can they make those, five fingers that form the fist that make an offensive line that's not only going to be able to protect your very mobile quarterback and young quarterback who's maybe going to be going through some growing pains, but also open up the running game and make a more functional offense than you had last year.
Six Rings Dynasty watching live on YouTube wants Jack Connolly, who was an undrafted free agent out of Boston College, to show out and earn the starting left guard job. Listen, it's going to be a scrum. If there's going to be one position on the offensive line that's going to be an anchorman rumble, it'll be left guard. You have Cole Strange, possibly Ben Brown, no longer Jake Andrews. He was released. Layden Robinson, and now Jack Connolly, all competing for reps or the honor to start between Will Campbell and Garrett Bradbury. At center, you've got Jared Wilson, who some people couldn't believe fell to 95th overall. Excuse me. And a lot of guys had a first-round grade on. So Garrett Bradbury knows he's got to show up and show out if he wants to hold on to that starting job. Will Campbell at left. Then the right side is pretty stabilized with Morgan Moses out at right guard. And obviously Mike Onwenu, who should be plenty motivated. Morgan Moses, right tackle. Mike Onwenu, right guard as well. Who knows what we get from Caden Wallace? So there are plenty of question marks. For all we know, this group could improve by one, if not two tiers by the end of the season. And they might be big on the upside. Maybe Will Campbell's arms are not an issue. Maybe Layden Robinson dominates and just takes the job. And Cole Strange, who didn't get his fifth-year option picked up, says, thanks for the memories. Sorry that I didn't live up to being taken 22nd overall, but where I'm on to my next job. And maybe Jared Wilson just absolutely kicks ass and takes that job. Who knows? There could be a lot of upside galore there. But for now, they are your row raggies. And there you have it, folks. The 5 tiers of the Patriots positional groupings. Best of the best secondary and coaches. Pretty good. D-line and linebackers. Big on the upside with the quarterbacks and running backs. The wide receivers, special teams, and tight ends right now are a little bit shaky. And row raggy on the offensive line. Mego, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this latest fabulous edition of Six Rings?
Just looking forward to seeing what our schedule is going to be in the fall, seeing what dictates my life for half the year.
That's right. So next week, we're going to have a super edition. We'll go live on schedule release night. We'll try to get everybody who talks Patriots at the station in for a big old party. That's a BYO. type of podcast, which will be a ton of fun, analyzing the Patriots schedule on Wednesday, May the 14th. We'll be back with UDFA Talk. We'll preview the schedule. We're going to talk to our friend Will Parkinson about the Patriots offseason versus the Jets offseason coming up, and so many more things. And if you guys ever have something you'd like for us to address, hit us up. We're at 6 Rings Pod. You know, Miss Megan Ottolini can be found at Megan_Ottolini. And of course, you can always hit me up at FitzyGFY. And make sure, please, to read Mego's columns about the Celtics and follow all of her elite coverage as your Boston Celtics look to redeem themselves after the reign of horror that was Game 1 against the Knickerbockers. Thanks for making time, Mego. As always, thank you guys of good cheer and participation here in the latest 6 Rings and Football Things. Until next time, thanks for listening. Tell your friends the Pats Party is here over in 6 Rings. Good day, God bless, and as always,